أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Lesson number 132, Surah Al-Hijr, ayah number 1 to 50. Al-Hijr is the name of a region where the people of Thamud, they used to live. And they're mentioned in the surah in detail, which is why the surah is named Al-Hijr. Surah Al-Hijr is a Makki surah, and it was revealed after Surah Yusuf. And remember that in Makkah, the Prophet ﷺ and the Muslims, they were suffering from a lot of persecution. In the early stages of the Meccan era, where the da'wah was still silent, where it was still low profile, where people did not know much about it, it was not public, the persecution was very less. It was at an individual level, just in the homes, in the houses. But in the later stage, when the Prophet ﷺ publicly did da'wah, when the Sahaba, they publicly called other people towards Islam, then with that the opposition increased as well. This was when? Towards the later stage of the Meccan era. And Surah Yusuf was also revealed at that time. Remember when the Prophet ﷺ had lost his uncle and had lost his wife, and he had also gone to At-Ta'if to get help from there, but he was rejected. And the mushrikeen of Makkah were making his life so difficult that he had to leave. So in that context, Surah Yusuf was revealed. And soon after, Surah Al-Hijr was also revealed. And in this again, the believers, the Prophet ﷺ, all of them are comforted. Their spirits are raised up. Examples are given from the past to boost their morale, to encourage them to continue what they were doing, to face the opposition, to be strong. In this surah, Surah Al-Hijr, there are 99 verses in total, and there are 654 words. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alif Lam Ra. Huruf muqatta'at. Tilka ayatul kitab. These are the verses of the book. Which book? The verses of the Quran, or Al-Kitab can also refer to this surah. So these verses that you are reading, these are of Al-Kitab, the Quran, or of the surah, and there are also verses of وَقُرْآنٍ مُبِينٍ, and a Quran that is clear. Wa, this is atf, meaning it is joining between two words or two phrases or two sentences. So over here, wa is joining between ayatul kitab and Qur'an mubin. That these are the verses of Al-Kitab, the book, and there are also verses of Qur'an mubin. Now, does it mean that this kitab and Qur'an mubin are two different things? No. The atf is sometimes also for the purpose of bayan, for the purpose of explaining. That what is this kitab that these verses are a part of? This kitab is Qur'an mubin. It is a clear Qur'an. And mubin, as you know, it means that which is clear in itself, and it also clarifies. How is the Qur'an mubin? That first of all, it is clear in its halal and it is haram. It is clear in its hidayah, in its guidance, and it is also clear in its haqq. And the Qur'an, secondly, it also clarifies. Clarifies what? The way of guidance from the way of misguidance. The way of rectitude from the way of misguidance. The way that leads a person astray. It distinguishes, it clarifies the truth from the falsehood. And this Qur'an is mubin also in another way. That in its miraculous nature, in its i'jaz, in its miraculous nature, it is clear. So these are the verses of the book, and a clear Qur'an that has no ambiguity in it, that is clear in its message. There is no confusion in it. The message of the Qur'an is clear. No one can be confused by it. No one can misunderstand it. No one can not get it. It's quite obvious that the message of the Qur'an is believe in the oneness of Allah and be concerned, prepare for your hereafter. رُبَمَا perhaps, many times, يَوَدُّ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا, the disbelievers will wish, لَوْ كَانُوا مُسْلِمِينَ, if only they had been Muslims. رُبَمَا gives the meaning of perhaps, maybe, possibly. Basically the word ruba, ra, ba, this is a harf jar. What does it mean? It gives a jar to the noun that comes after it. And this ma is za'id, giving the meaning of emphasis. So rubama, perhaps, many times, at many occasions, or it may be. And this word has various forms. Like for example, sometimes you see the word ruba, sometimes you see the word rubba, sometimes you see rubama, other times you see rubbama, rubbatan. So there are various forms. But in the Quran, this word appears only once, here. And it is in the form of rubama. And what does that mean? Perhaps, most of the time, or many times. And sometimes it also gives the meaning of maybe. It may be. So, rubama, perhaps, it may be, or many times, at some point, يَوَدُّ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا. Yawaddu from the root letters, waw, dal, dal, from the word would, which means to love something. But what kind of love is it? What kind of love is would? Intense love. And when it's used for wish, it is when a person terribly wishes for something. Badly wishes for something to be fulfilled. So perhaps the disbelievers will wish that they had been Muslimin, that they had been Muslims. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us over here that the disbelievers, they will regret having lived a life of disbelief. And they will wish that they had been Muslims. And if you notice the word yawaddu, yawaddu is fi'l mudari', which means that either they will wish now or they will wish in the future. Some, they wish now, and others, they will wish in the future. So some, they wish in the dunya, in this world. When do they wish in this dunya that if only they were Muslims? When they see the benefits attached to Islam. For example, at the time of the Prophet ﷺ, when the Muslims were becoming victorious, year after year, very soon the tables turned against the mushrikeen and the Muslims were gaining victory and success. So at that time, many disbelievers wished that they had been Muslim. Similarly, they wish in this dunya that they had been Muslim when they see the contentment and the happiness and the peace of heart that is enjoyed by the Muslims, despite the hardship that they face. I know of someone who was giving birth, who was in labor, and they had been listening to the Quran constantly, non-stop. And the person who was assisting them, they're like, this is so peaceful. I wish I knew what it means. And they said that they would literally consider becoming Muslim to enjoy the same peace and comfort that you are enjoying despite the fact that you're going through so much pain. It's been so many hours, you're in so much pain, but still, you're fine. So what is it that makes you so comfortable, so content, so okay despite the pain that you're going through? It's this Quran. So what is this? So many times in this dunya also, the disbelievers wish that they were Muslim when they see the benefits that are attached to Islam, when they see the Muslims in comfort, in contentment, in peace, despite the hardship that they're going through. Remember that quote? That if the disbelievers knew what we have in our hearts, the enjoyment, the calm, the peace, then they would wage war against us to get that. They would wage war against us. رُبَمَا يَوَدُّ. But then what happens? They wish that they were Muslim, but then the glamour, the glitter, the enjoyment of this dunya, it overcomes them, and they're distracted by it. Completely distracted by it. So yawaddu now, and secondly yawaddu later in the hereafter. In the hereafter, they will wish that they were Muslim. And when does the hereafter begin? From the time of death. That at the time of death, they will wish they were Muslim. And this wish will continue and increase at each stage thereafter. At every stage of the hereafter, they will wish even more that they had been Muslim. In Surah Al-An'am, ayah 31, we learn, قَدْ خَسِرَ الَّذِينَ كَذَّبُوا بِلِقَاءِ اللَّهِ حَتَّى إِذَا جَاءَتْهُمُ السَّاعَةُ بَغْتَةً قَالُوا يَا حَسْرَتَنَا عَلَى مَا فَرَّطْنَا فِيهَا. Those will have lost who deny the meeting with Allah. Until when the hour of resurrection comes upon them unexpectedly, they will say, "Oh, how great is our regret. How great is our regret over what we neglected concerning it." So first of all, they will wish at the time of death, upon seeing the angels, that when the angels will come and they will take the soul, and you know as to how the angels come to take the soul of a person who has rejected Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, as opposed to the person who believes, the person who disobeys and the person who is obedient. There's a complete difference in what kind of angels come and how they take the soul. Secondly, they will also regret in the grave. In the grave. After the trial, after the test. Which test? That in the grave when they will be questioned, "Man Rabbuka? Ma dinuka?" And who is that man? So, they will regret at that time that they had been believers. For example, from a hadith that is recorded in Abu Dawud, we learn that after the test, when the disbeliever or the hypocrite, when he will say, "I do not know, I have no idea," then what's going to happen? A caller will call from the heaven. A caller will announce from the heaven that spread for him furnishings from the fire, and open for him a door to the fire. And as a result, its heat and fierce hot wind will reach him even in his grave. And his grave will be tightened around him, causing his ribs to break. So when he will experience that, he will wish he was a Muslim. And also we learn that when a person will be in his barzakh, he will be shown what end he will have in the hereafter. A person will be shown his end either in Jannah or in Jahannam. But at the same time, he will also be shown the other end that he could have attained. For example, a person who's going to end up in hellfire, he will be shown the place in Jannah that he could have received. Similarly, the person who will enter Jannah, he will be shown the place in hellfire that he could have received. So when a person who is going to be promised hellfire will be shown the place in Jannah that he could have received, imagine his regret. لَوْ كَانُوا مُسْلِمِينَ, if only I was a Muslim. Similarly, on the day of judgment, الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا, they will wish that they were Muslim. When? When they will see the horror of that day. And they will see the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala being shown to the believers. Similarly, when people will be sent to Jannah, when people will be sent to hellfire, and from the hellfire, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will take out those people who had even the slightest trace of Iman, when they will be taken out of hellfire, the people who will remain, they will wish they had been Muslim. Because then at least they too could have been taken out of the hellfire. رُبَمَا يَوَدُّ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا لَوْ كَانُوا مُسْلِمِينَ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us that they will wish, that they will regret having lived a life of disbelief. We learn in Surah Al-Furqan, ayah number 27, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَيَوْمَ يَعَضُّ الظَّالِمُ عَلَى يَدَيْهِ. The day when the zalim, when the wrongdoer will bite at his own hands. يَعَضُّ. He will bite on his own hands. يَقُولُ يَا لَيْتَنِي اتَّخَذْتُ مَعَ الرَّسُولِ سَبِيلًا. He will say, "Oh, woe to me! Oh, I wish that I had taken with the messenger a way. I had adopted the way of the messenger. I had obeyed the messenger." We see that people, they have been given freedom in this dunya. إِمَّا شَاكِرٌ وَإِمَّا كَفُورٌ. It's up to you. Either you believe or you disbelieve. إِن شَكَرْتُمْ لَأَزِيدَنَّكُمْ. It's up to you. We have been given the choice. But what happens? While a person is enjoying the blessings, he becomes completely oblivious to the hereafter and he thinks that this dunya is everything. And because of that, he gives priority to it. Because of that, he ignores the akhirah. But the fact is that this dunya is very short-lived. And once it's going to be over, people are going to regret. They're going to regret over wasting their time. ذَرْهُمْ. Right now they don't take a lesson. They don't change their ways. Despite the fact that you remind them, leave them. ذَرْهُمْ. Leave them. Let them be. From the root letters, waw, dhal, ra. Let them be. يَأْكُلُ. That they should eat. Leave them alone and let them eat. وَيَتَمَتَّعُوا. And let them enjoy themselves. وَيُلْهِهِمُ الْأَمَلُ. And let them be diverted by false hope. فَسَوْفَ يَعْلَمُونَ. Then soon they will come to know. يَتَمَتَّعُوا is from tamattu', from the root letters mim, ta, ain. And tamattu' is to enjoy, to take benefit. وَيُلْهِهِمُ الْأَمَلُ. Yulhi is from the root letters lam, ha, waw. From the word lahu. And lahu is basically an amusement, something that a person finds very amusing, very entertaining. And because of that, he is diverted from something that is more important. Lahu is what? Entertainment, amusement, that distracts a person from what is more important. So lahu includes everything that distracts a person from his real purpose. No matter how enjoyable it may be. Can you think of an example? Games and matches. When people can spend hours, 4, 5, 6 hours, staring at the screen, getting together in one another's houses, and just watching other people throwing balls, running after them. Early in the morning, waking up at 4 in the morning, perhaps thinking about skipping school, or taking days off of work, which they will not do so for something else. This is lahu. Something that is pure entertainment, but it has no benefit to you, nothing at all. Can you make money when you watch cricket? Are you going to make any money? No. Are you going to learn something that you could use? No. What benefit is in it? Are they your relatives who are playing? That if they're successful, you'll be successful? If they lose, you will lose? They're not related to you. Then what does it matter to you? How can you wake up at 4 in the morning to watch that when you will not wake up at 4 in the morning to pray, to make dua? When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala called you every night, I'm here, ask me. You don't get up. And when there are people who are running after their balls, you want to get up and watch what they're doing? How sad. مَا لَكُمْ لَا تَرْجُونَ لِلَّهِ وَقَارًا. What is wrong with you? You don't show respect to Allah? Allah calls you every night, every single night. You don't get up. You don't bother. And there are people who are playing and you will get up to watch them. This is what lahu is. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, leave them. وَيُلْهِهِمُ الْأَمَلُ. These long hopes, these false hopes, they will distract them. They will keep them distracted from what is more important in their lives. What is more important? From the purpose of their lives. This is distracting them. Al-amal is a wish, it is a hope that a person thinks it could be fulfilled. It could come true. It's possible that it may be fulfilled. There's another word that we learned for wish, that is tamanni. But tamanni is what a person knows can never be fulfilled. Like for example, a person wishes that he never dies. This is what? Tamanni, a false hope. But amal is a wish, a hope, an expectation that a person thinks it's possible for it to be fulfilled. So this amal, these false hopes, hopes of doing one thing after the other, achieving one thing after the other, they distract people. Yulhihimul amalu. Like for example, a person thinks, let me do this thing right now for the next 2 years. I'm busy with this, and then I will do something else, and then I will do something else. Hopes, expectations. This diverts them, distracts them from their real purpose. Leave them alone. Let them eat and enjoy and be preoccupied with entertainment. فَسَوْفَ يَعْلَمُونَ. Soon they will know. Soon they will know what? What they did in their lives. Where they spent their time. Where they spent their energy. The consequences of their actions. Soon they will come to know that this life they had been given had a purpose behind it. It was not given to them so that they watch other people playing. It was given to them so that they do something themselves. فَسَوْفَ يَعْلَمُونَ. Soon they will come to know. In this ayah, the address is to the Prophet ﷺ and the Muslims. That leave the kuffar. The people who don't believe, just leave them. If they refuse to accept, leave them. Many times later on they will wish they had been Muslim. Right now you tell them they don't listen, leave them. Now does this mean that a person should not do da'wah to them? No, this is not what the meaning is. The meaning is that give da'wah to them, but when they don't listen, when they don't believe, then leave them with their decision. Leave them with their decision. And you should be content in your heart and mind that you have done your job. And these people, what are they doing? Ya'kulu. They're eating. Let them eat. If you think about it, food is the primary and strongest desire that human beings have. It's the primary and the strongest desire that people have. Whatever circumstances a person may be in, what does he think about? Food. If a person is traveling, if a person is at home, if a person is at work, if a person is at school, all the time, what is the concern that people have? What am I going to eat? When am I going to eat? And where I'm going to eat from? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, "Darhum ya'kulu." Let them eat one thing after the other. Try one food after the other. All their life is revolved around food. This is what they're concerned about. Satisfying their palates. Satisfying their stomachs. Just enjoying one meal after the other. Literally, if you think about it sometimes, many women, what does their life revolve around? Preparing one meal, wrapping up, and then preparing the next one, and then going to the store, and then preparing again. Sometimes on the weekends you wonder, I just made breakfast, now I have to make lunch, now I have to make dinner. Honestly. And in the middle I have to go for groceries, and then I have to do the kitchen. Sometimes the whole day goes in doing that. Now it doesn't mean that eating food is not permissible. No. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, "Kulu." Eat. But what is our responsibility? That we should not let this eating divert us from the purpose of our lives. Eating is necessary. Eating halal and tayyib is necessary. Tayyib is necessary. I'm not saying that in order to save your time, you go and buy junk food and eat that. No. Prepare your food yourself. Eat healthy. But don't just spend your time doing that. Take time out for that which is more important. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, يَتَمَتَّعُوا. Let them enjoy. This is what they're only concerned about. Enjoyment, entertainment. Today, if you look at it, all that people want to do is have fun. Even when it comes to studying, even when it comes to gaining education, people want a fun way of learning. Fun way of memorizing, a fun way of doing this and doing that. In everything, people are looking for fun. Whereas the fact is that this life is not for fun. This life is for work. This life is that we struggle, not that we have fun. It doesn't mean you should not make your work easy upon yourself. You should. But it doesn't mean that if something becomes difficult, you say, because it's not too much fun, I'm going to leave it. No. This is not the attitude of a believer. Let them enjoy. يَتَمَتَّعُوا وَيُلْهِهِمُ الْأَمَلُ. And let them be diverted by hopes. That they are so distracted by the things of this dunya, by the hopes of this dunya, that I will accomplish this and I will accomplish that and I will get married and I will have children and I will have a house and I will clean this and I will set this up like that and I will paint this and I will decorate in this way. One amal after the other, they're distracted. They're distracted, constantly distracted from what is more important. Constantly distracted. يُلْهِهِمُ الْأَمَلُ فَسَوْفَ يَعْلَمُونَ. Soon they will come to know. Abu Hurairah radhiyallahu anhu, he narrated that the Prophet ﷺ said, Allah hates every harsh person. Allah dislikes who? He hates who? Every harsh person who eats excessively. All that he's concerned about is himself, which is why he doesn't care about respecting people. And at the same time, he eats excessively. And he goes about in the market making noise, yelling, making noise. sometimes with the speakers of his car, extremely loud, making noise, who sleeps in the way just like a dead corpse. Meaning wherever he wants to sleep, whenever he wants to sleep, he just sleeps. There is no discipline. If he sleeps in the night, he sleeps like a dead corpse. You try to wake him up for Fajr, it's impossible. Impossible. He's like a dead person. During the day, he's sleeping just like a dead person. Allah hates every such person who sleeps in the way just like a dead corpse. He passes the day like a donkey, bent on its work. If you ever look at a donkey who is working, he has no idea what's happening around him. If the master has tied him, he will stand tied up over there for hours and hours. If the donkey is circling around a particular thing, then he will continue to circle without looking here or there, without taking a break. Similarly, when a person is engrossed by the things of this dunya, without taking a break, he is doing one thing after the other, just like a donkey, not even thinking about the akhirah, not taking time out to remember Allah, not taking time out to pray, to recite some Qur'an, just like a donkey working for this dunya. And the hadith continues that a person who is well informed of the affairs of this world, he is very well informed of the affairs of this world, but he is completely unaware of the matters of the hereafter. Completely heedless of the affairs of the hereafter. And this is a hadith that you find in Musnad ibn Hibban. So, the Prophet ﷺ said that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala hates every such person who has these characteristics. A person whose goal is just the enjoyment of this dunya. Eating, and having fun, and sleeping, without taking care of the responsibilities, the duties that a person has towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, for his akhirah, without any care, only concerned about the dunya. وَمَا أَهْلَكْنَا, and we have not destroyed, مِنْ قَرْيَةٍ, any city. We did not destroy any city, إِلَّا except, وَلَهَا, and for it, كِتَابٌ, a decree, that is ma'loom, that is known. Meaning every people were finished at a time that was fixed for them. No one died before that, and no one died after that. Everyone went from here, وَلَهَا كِتَابٌ مَعْلُومٌ. Kitab is decree, it's not book over here. Because it's decree of Allah, it's the decision of Allah. And كِتَابٌ مَعْلُومٌ, ma'loom as in known to Allah, not forgotten by Allah or ignored, or confused with another time, that somebody else was supposed to die, and by mistake somebody else was given death. No. For every ummah, for every community, for every nation that was destroyed, it was destroyed at the time that was decreed for it. And in this is a warning for all of us, that if we are delaying things that are important, if we are distracted by the entertainment, by the amusement of this dunya, we are busy fulfilling our desires, we don't have high goals, we're not working for the akhirah, we're spending one day after the other, wasting our time, like a donkey who doesn't know why he's living, very well informed about the affairs of this dunya, what's happening in that country and what's happening in this person's life, but with regards to the akhirah, completely negligent. This is a warning that every person has a time when they will go away from here. And you don't know when that time is. And remember, that time is fixed. You cannot avoid it. So in this is a warning for the people of Mecca, that later on you will wish you were believers. Right now you're not taking a lesson. But remember that every nation that was destroyed, it was destroyed at the time that was fixed for it. And at the same time, there is also a lesson for us. مَا تَسْبِقُ مِنْ أُمَّةٍ, no nation will precede its term. تَسْبِقُ, from the root letters, sin, ba, qaf. مَا تَسْبِقُ مِنْ أُمَّةٍ, no nation will precede أَجَلَهَا, its appointed time. What does it mean by its ajal? The time for its expiration. The time for its end. وَمَا يَسْتَأْخِرُونَ, nor can they remain thereafter. يَسْتَأْخِرُونَ, from the root letters, hamza khara. Meaning, when the kitabun ma'loom comes, then no ummah can remain after it. And no ummah can go before that. And this is at a community level, and this is also at an individual level. وَقَالُوا, and they say, the mushrikeen of Makkah, they would say to the Prophet ﷺ that يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِي نُزِّلَ عَلَيْهِ الذِّكْرُ, O you who, يَا أَيُّهَا, O you who, الَّذِي, the one who, نُزِّلَ عَلَيْهِ الذِّكْرُ, the reminder has been revealed to him. What does it mean by al-dhikr? The Qur'an. Because al-dhikr is one of the names of the Qur'an. So, O you, upon whom the dhikr has been revealed, إِنَّكَ لَمَجْنُونَ, indeed you are surely crazy. You are a madman. Imagine they would say this to the Prophet ﷺ. And look at the emphasis. إِنَّكَ, indeed you, لَمَجْنُونَ, surely one who is majnoon. And who is majnoon? Majnoon is from the root letters Jim, Noon, Noon, Jannah, which is to cover. So majnoon is someone whose aql has been covered. By what? Madness. He does not think properly. Similarly, majnoon is also used for a person who has been possessed by the jinn. Because a person who is possessed by the jinn, even his aql is covered. He doesn't know what's going on with him. He's talking, or he's doing certain things. He has no idea. So, إِنَّكَ لَمَجْنُونَ. But what does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala say? Yasin wal Qur'an al-Hakim. Analyze the Qur'an that the Prophet ﷺ would recite. The wisdom in it demonstrates that he was not someone who was majnoon. He was someone who was a messenger of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We see that Fir'aun also said the same thing about Musa alayhi salam. In Surah Al-Shu'ara, ayah number 27, we learn that Fir'aun said, إِنَّ رَسُولَكُمُ الَّذِي أُرْسِلَ إِلَيْكُمْ لَمَجْنُونَ. That this messenger who has been sent to you, he is majnoon. But the reality is that if someone calls another mad, does he become mad? If a person calls someone insane, does he become insane? No. Just because somebody says something does not mean it's true. So no matter what they call you, no matter what they say to you, you don't have to feel bad about it. If you think about it over here, this was a statement that the mushrikeen said in opposition against the Prophet ﷺ. Right? This is why they said something like that. Otherwise, why would they say that you are majnoon? And if you look at it, opposition against someone is usually based on two things. What are they? First of all, misunderstanding. Many times people oppose one another because they misunderstand one another. They don't know what the other person is saying or what he's trying to do. And because of that, they will begin to oppose them. They don't understand the other person's point of view. They will argue with them. If they say something, they will say something contradicting. Why? Because they misunderstand them. Now, once they begin to understand what the other person is saying, are they continue to oppose them? No. Their opposition is going to come to an end. Once they understand. The second reason why people oppose is stubbornness, arrogance. That when you understand what the other person is saying, you know what he's saying, but you don't like it. And you're too stubborn to accept it. You're too arrogant to accept it. And because you don't like it, at no cost you will accept it. This is the second reason as to why people oppose others. The reason is stubbornness. They have knowledge, but still they will refuse to accept. So in the first reason, where people oppose due to misunderstanding, there were many people in Makkah who disbelieved in the Prophet ﷺ at the beginning. Why? Because they didn't even know what the Prophet ﷺ was saying. And later on, when they understood, what did they do? They accepted. They became believers. But there were some other ones who knew what he was saying. They understood it. Their hearts even accepted, but they refused to acknowledge. They refused to accept it at their tongue. They refused to submit to it. Like, for example, Abu Jahl and various other leaders. So over here, when they were saying that إِنَّكَ لَمَجْنُونَ, indeed you are mad, this was because of their arrogance, because of their stubbornness. It's not that they misunderstood the Prophet ﷺ. It's not that they could not understand his message. No, they understood him very well. But they refused to accept what he was saying because they did not like him.